Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's Post-Match Pint, the only West Ham United post-match show on the internet. I've got a stinking cold, but we've just come back from Brentford, the FA Cup fifth round, where it was West Ham 2, Brentford 2, but we go through on penalties. Happy
what was
days,
you doing in
boys.
Brentford, Nick? We played in London Stadium yesterday, mate. What was you doing up in Brentford?
When I've done the rounds. I've done the rounds. I'll be honest with
rounds,
you,
to the next
start
round.
off anything, I'm over the moon, because I think with everything that's gone on this year, I think a nice little cup run, especially with a draw, is just exactly what we needed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, so to get that draw beforehand, to have gone out yesterday, it would have just been even more disappointing, because you think we've got one of the easy, and it's not to knock Leeds, but out of all the draws we could have got, that was probably the third best draw you could have asked for out of all of them. And that would have been disappointing to not have that opportunity to go and play a game that you feel like we can win. Not to say we're the favourites or it's easy, but it's a game that we can win that can take us to Wembley. Now we're one step close from Wembley at home to Leeds. So we don't have to wonder what could have been, because now it's in our hands to get to Wembley.
Scott, I'm going to do something that we ain't done in a long time.
Go on, mate.
What's the starting lineup?
He's not going to easy.
You want me to go for it?
Yes, please.
Have a go.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can do it off the top of your head straight away.
Well, Ariola come back in. Walker Peters at the right, Scholes on the left, Disasi and Mavropanos the centre halves. Midfield, good to see Kante getting a start in there, alongside Souček, Fernandez, Traoré, Traoré, Bowen, and Pablo.
There we go. There is a reason why. Well done, Scott, mate, because I don't think I would have been able to do that, to be honest. The reason why I've focused on that starting lineup, because there was a few changes last night, and a couple of people started the game, and they was a little bit weary about the changes and saying that, we're chucking this away and all that. Couldn't have been further from the truth.
Nope.
To be honest,
there was a lot of discourse in the live chat before the game. I was in the middle. I was like, I was in a let's see what happens with this. I was mostly happy to see Pablo back, because I was not expecting it, and to have him come back in like he'd never been gone, like he was never gone. Didn't miss a beat, right? He was back to his usual self, very effective, put full effort in. It was really encouraging, because we'll need him. So that was the big thing I was happy about. I understand the rotation, but the thing is, with the rotation, we played some really good football in that first half. I really enjoyed what we were doing with the rotation, with the players that we had. Even Traoré, who I've knocked, for the I know he weren't fucking blow you away type of performance, but he was improved.
There was a couple of times in there, and I wanted to, to resonate with Traoré a little bit, because I haven't been that impressed with him. You know what I mean? Like, I always said that he would be a handy player down the line for certain things, but I haven't been impressed with him at all. He's come in, he's looked slow, he's looked sluggish. Last night, there was a couple of times when he just showed me exactly what Traoré can do, and that's getting the ball, spinning on a sixpence, and just going. And there was a couple of times last night when I thought, you know what? This geezer looks like he's getting back to his best, and he obviously won the penalty. But there is one time that summed up Traoré. Traoré picked up the ball on the halfway line. He skipped past three people. He turned on a sixpence. He went past one, past two, got into the centre of the goal, shot, and it nearly hit the corner flag. Now that sums up Traoré perfectly. But what I will say...
also, when he tried to chest the ball and someone switched the play up to him, brought it to him, he chested it like he was being shot. He was like that. And fucking lost it. And I was like, oh my God.
There was a couple of times when I see him tracking back, he's using his pace again. And that is exactly what we need at this point in juncture, to be quite honest with you. Like, to get some, there was a few of them. Pablo being back was massive, because as I said before, like, I've been watching Tatty. Tatty works hard. One of them up front is a fucking, he's hard to contain. When you got two of them chasing you down, that's where we've got a lot of points.
Well, Traoré was on the left as well yesterday, which we haven't seen him on the left for us yet. And so maybe that had something to do with it.
I think you summed it up perfectly. You see the best and worst of him yesterday. You see why I criticise him quite a lot with his end products and all that. But like you said, you see the defensive work that he can bring playing on that side as well. He did use his pace a couple of times. You sit there, you think he's jogging, and then he just opens up, and he is still quick. He's got to shed a few pounds bulk wise, and then I think we get a bit of a better player. But
well, this is the issue. Apparently, he was subbed. The reason why he was subbed off at half time, it's come out, is because of fitness concerns.
Yeah,
He's still not fit enough to play any significant amount of football, which is crazy.
And that's the worry. You know, when you see someone like Disasi who hadn't played, practically all season, come straight in and hit the ground running and play 90 minutes after 90 minutes. When you then look at Traoré, who's had, I think, 14 appearances for Fulham, to not be able to last a half or just over a half against that Premier League opposition is really, really worrying. For me, I'm sitting there questioning why we're bringing Somerville on, because, okay, it could be fitness concerns, but we need more minutes in Traoré's legs. We don't need more minutes in Somerville's legs. We needed to rest Somerville as long as possible. And
we were winning.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like you said, Traoré won the penalty. I thought that's the best I've seen him play in a West Ham shirt. So, I'm not going to sit here and slag the guy off all the time without giving him praise when praise is due. And it was last night. I thought,
that penalty, Scott, I'd be interested. Me and Ryan talked about this last night. I'd be interested what you guys say about it. When we sort of saw it. I mean, at the time, it was one of the most stonewall penalties you'll ever see. And the ref didn't give it, and he had to rely on VAR to tell him it was a pen, and it was as blatant as you'll find.
I think.
But then again, Dan, I'm going to say the same thing. I watched that. I could see it out in real time. The other end was a stonewall penalty. The other end was a stonewall penalty. He didn't give that, and it went to VAR, and they didn't give it. I couldn't believe it.
Which one?
The one Brentford shout.
Yeah, the Brentford shout when he stood on his foot.
Yeah, that one a penalty.
Oh, that one. The reason why they didn't give it is because he got touched the ball. Yeah.
So it's not a penalty.
Yeah, you can't be touching it. What'd you do then? Touch the ball and kick the geezer in the face? What's going on?
But he didn't kick the geezer in the face. At the end of the day,
he got on his foot and he stopped him from running. It's a stonewall penalty.
But he didn't do it on purpose. He
took the ball first.
As he got the ball. Yeah, he took the ball and then resultantly stepped on his foot. So he's got to the ball first. The geezers come in after.
Nick,
it's one of them ones.
It's a stonewall penalty. It's a stonewall penalty.
It's not. If you take the ball first, it's a tackle. You've won the ball. That's the whole principle of you kicking the ball first, not the player. So this is the thing. We've got to get out of this. Got to get out of this mindset of if you take the ball but then take the player, it's a foul. It's not, right? Because as I said, go back to when we were playing. Rules of engagement are win the ball and take the player with you.
All right, listen.
It's need to get back to that. We
need to get back to it. You're right.
Contact sport, right? The referee, as you said, the Traoré penalty, it was a stonewall penalty. The referee bottled it. He relied on VAR to make that decision for him, and that's on him.
He didn't get the ball. He just
do you think if the player would have give the penalty, if the referee would have given the penalty, it would have been overturned?
The Traoré one?
No.
The other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he takes the ball first, so it's not a foul. It can't be a foul if he's took the ball first.
Okay.
I think that's how it should be.
Otherwise, you're defeating the object of trying to tackle.
No, I understand. Yeah. I agree with you in a step, but what I've seen is,
it's like, do you remember that Balbuena one at Chelsea when he cleared the ball, and as a result of clearing the ball, he made contact with the player.
And this is the thing, we've seen him given. Right. But at the end of the day, it is literally if you win.
But that was overturned. That red card, by the way, that red card on Balbuena was overturned because it's the thing is he's got the ball.
We're sitting here arguing about it. At the end of the day, it went in our favour, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I thought the ref was atrocious in general.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
That one on some of them results. I'm trying to think. There was one that just got in my head, but I just think there was a lot of them decisions. He just seemed to have nothing about him, no bottle on him.
A couple. There's a couple he did. There was a little nudge in the back on one. Who was it? I can't remember who it was, but it was for Brentford again in the penalty. There was a little nudge in the back, but it weren't enough to make the player.
Well, the penalty. You talking about the penalty they was given?
No, the penalty they got.
I think the penalty they was given was a penalty.
Yeah, it was a penalty. That one was a blatant penalty. He's
shoulder. He's not forearmed him, right? So he's as you go for the ball, Scott, he's making contact with the ball, right? And he's jumping for it. What is Somerville supposed to do? Is he not supposed to put any weight in him? He's not supposed to make contact with him. They're competing for the ball, right? Is he supposed to just go, right, you go for it and have a free header, son? He's not barged into him. He's not pushed him.
When I've seen a couple of penalties, right, and things that have been given where the geezers,
He's
two hands
fucking-
shoving him in his face, in his back, and he's giving some and he ain't giving some and all that. I think that was soft, if I'm honest.
Look at the way he threw himself to the ground, Scott. Look at the theatrics.
Listen.
That was
I'm not
soft
saying
as
the
you like.
theatrics of the player afterwards, but at the end of the day, it's a penalty because he's got his arm there. It's not a natural position. His arm's there. Pushing
How
him
many
in the back.
times do you see players leaning on each other like that, like
But
shoulders to
Dan,
shoulders?
there's leaning. The geezer's in the air and he's got his forearm in the middle of his back and he pushes into him so he can't get the ball. It's a penalty. It's a bad mistake by Somerville. There was no need to do it.
Soft. That's so soft.
It's not soft. It's not soft. It's a penalty. You can't. This is the thing. That's a penalty. It's a push in the back.
So what is Somerville supposed to do there? Just back off and go on, let it, son.
Okay, all right.
He
So
can
that's
jump.
the penalty. What about the one at Liverpool
What one? Remind me, Liverpool.
when Tatty comes across and the geezer two-arm pushes him across?
Yeah,
It's penalty. This is the.
but that's more. That's the push.
This is why we're never going to fucking get anywhere with the rules because no one seems to know the fucking rules.
Look at the Arsenal Chelsea game. There should have been 4 penalties in the space of one corner.
Oh yeah,
It's the inconsistency of the referee, and the refereeing in this country is absolutely shocking. And they just rely on VAR, and the people doing VAR are just as bad as the referees.
How often that one from Somerville, right? How often have you seen penalties given for that level of contact? I can't recall that level. Like that's what pushing.
I'm saying. Like, what is the difference right there? He's nudging him in the back, right? With you saying arm. Look at a Chelsea corner or any fucking corner. They've fucking got them their arms wrapped around them like they're fucking giving them a bear hug. Like, why are they things like that penalties? But they're main penalties. Make it make sense. A cross is hard. Once the ball's in play, it's in play.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, mate. And this is the inconsistency is very frustrating from referees. The rules seem to change week by week when it comes to corners, set pieces, and pushes in the back.
Yeah.
Shit. So,
shit.
It's frustrating because we did not need that game go into extra time and ends really. Well, we saw what happened, Somerville.
Before we get onto that, right? Kante was fucking excellent.
Yeah, he played well. Played very well.
He was excellent. And what I do, I thought Walker Peters was decent. I think he was a bit lightweight. Scholesy got ripped to pieces on the left-hand side, which he's always going to have a difficult night out there.
I think that's harsh on Scholesy. I think at the start, I think he grew into the game and he started making really good interceptions and tackles as the game progressed. I think at the start, earlier on in the game, he struggled to get a foot in, and I think he grew into the game and he started to really.
He sold himself so many times down on that left
agree.
side up against that winger. So many times. He made it very, very easy for that winger to get past him and get the ball in the box. So I agree, Dad. He did get better as the game went on, but I thought overall he was pretty poor.
Yeah, but listen, that's the education. That's what he's got to learn. That's what that's what in games are for. You play to learn. And that's what mistake you don't get better by not making mistakes. That's for sure. But I thought Kante was excellent. And what I did see there a little bit is that Bowen as well. I think Bowen was back to his best last night, not just in terms of the goal scoring, but in terms of like the work rate and everything else. But what I would say, it showed me that we've got a little bit of depth there. There's players there that we can rely on if things are going wrong. Yeah. Which is good at this juncture of the season because, like as we say, we're going to talk about a potential injury in a minute. And it bodes well.
The thing is that you see last night for me, you see we're a team now. Do you know what I mean? You actually that last night I think showed it a hell of a lot. There was a confidence about the players. They were all pulling in the same direction. Everyone was working for everyone. I said it was a big game for Kante to come in, and he stepped up to the plate. And there's a belief there in that squad now. There's a belief that they can get out of this trouble that we're in and potentially get themselves onto Wembley. You see how much it actually meant to them last night. And I think it's mad how certain things are coincided. The new coach coming in, the Sarsi coming in. That guy, for me, he's had the Lingard effect, but to the defence. You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, he's been solid.
yeah, he was a beast last night, and it's what you need to see. You know, and you see it right near the end where he made that. I think it was a tackle or an interception, and he's got up like he's celebrating a goal.
Yeah.
You know, he was
I
unlucky
really
he
like
didn't
him.
score as well.
I really, really like him.
Mm.
He reminds me a bit of Zuma.
Yeah.
When he first came in.
Yeah,
2-0
definitely.
Atletico.
No, these are going
Mugged
to
off
get
their
humiliated
defence.
tonight.
This is
And I'll tell you
mugged.
what, right, from where I was sitting, he had that strike in the last minute of the game. I thought that was fucking flying in. I thought
Yeah.
that was in the top corner.
Yeah, that was a
Honestly,
good
mate,
strike.
I don't think I've ever seen a shot hit that hard in my life. I swear
That was
down. I've
great.
seen some fucking shots. He hit that like a fucking rocket, mate.
Yeah,
And I
I
thought,
yeah.
that would have been such a fitting way to win a game. Honestly, it was a crazy, crazy strike.
I think we
Yeah.
deserved it overall, didn't you? Like, I think,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I think
Yeah,
we
I
did a better
do.
side.
Better
Listen,
team.
Yeah.
Brentford are a decent team, but I thought they made the most of a few chances. I thought our chances were the better ones. And
Yeah.
we, you know what we've got to do is we've got to start tucking some of these away. There was times where when I think we could have gone 2-3, 4-1 up.
Yeah.
And we let them back in it. And that's what that's our mistakes. But I thought overall, in terms of football played, in terms of chances created, I thought we edged it. And I think we deserved it. I think if we'd have gone out last night, I'd have been a bit gutted, to be honest.
Yeah, same, mate.
Yeah.
I really do. I think if we had lost that on penalties, I think we didn't deserve to lose that game. You know, whatsoever.
But yeah, no, absolutely, we were the better team. But going to that extra time, like I said, I didn't want that. I'm glad we won overall. But you know, we need this team to be as fresh as possible. And like I said, oh my God, 3-0, they're just getting humiliated.
Oh Lord,
3-0 already. Their players, Van der Ven fell on his ass for the last one. Vicari, I think is that Vicari? No, that's the other one. Fell over. So listen, we've gone through to our cup, our next round of our cup. They're getting absolutely humiliated. I should have done a laugh along for this, but we're here. I'm laughing on post-match pint. But and this is the fucking keeper that Nuno wanted, by the way. This fucking clown. I'm glad we didn't get him because Hermansen is doing bits, mate. And Ariola did bits last night. I can't blame him. Some people are blaming him for their goal, their open play goal. I think it's harsh because it deflects. You've seen Ariola getting ready to catch it because it's going straight at him and then it comes off the geezer's body. They checked the handball, it weren't. And went deflected.
But he may have been able to do a little bit better, but I think it's a bit harsh for saying it's his fault. You know, he's hit the shot. The shot's going straight at him. It deflects off of what's his Igor's chest and changes direction completely. Thiago, sorry, yeah. It comes off his chest and deflects. He can't react. He doesn't have time to react to it. So I think that's a bit harsh trying to blame him for that. I thought overall we had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, made some good saves, good catches. You know what I mean? I thought he was solid, and it's good at the moment that we've got two keepers that we're comfortable with. You know, and it's mad me saying that about Hermansen because we was talking about him in the same breath as Roberto. You know, last year and that early in the season. So really good for him. But yeah, like I was saying, the Somerville one for me is crazy. People are asking about updates. Apparently he's having his scan. The club are worried, but he is walking, which is a positive. But I was doing my nutting thinking, why the fuck is he still on that pitch?
Yeah.
Why? Just play with 10 men and see it out until pens. Why is he limping and hobbling around the pitch for another 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was? That I was fucking going mad because you can make muscle injuries like that. You can make it worse.
I think it was more of an impact injury, wasn't it? And that's why he carried on. It wasn't like a pull or a strain. He took a whack, I think, and that's why he was able to carry on. But obviously, like you said, it's made it a bit worse. But we didn't have the subs, and he still managed to get on the ball and move around okay. And that just having that extra man on the pitch, Dan, they had to mark him.
Don't risk it. Don't risk it because if he's out for the season, mate, if he's out for the season, then we're in trouble.
The thing is, mate, I agree, but you've got yourself into a cup quarter final because of it.
No, I think we would have seen that out without him on the. I know what you're saying. It helps. I know you're saying it helps, but they weren't great. Yes, sir. I didn't feel too threatened by them in that extra time, and I think with the way we were defending, how good we were defending, you know what I mean. I think we could have managed it, and just don't risk. You know, our best player right now for the sake of an extra 10 minutes. Like, just wrap him up in cotton wool and letting the boys would have done their job.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense, but I just think just having him on the pitch, as I said, they still had to think about him. They still had to be aware where he was on the pitch. So they had to, as I said, they've had to mark him. So just having that extra player frees up, them having that extra player, especially going towards the end of that game, would have given them a bit more momentum because we would have been more on the back foot. Somerville still being on the pitch allowed us to continue to play on the front foot, which I think last night, for me, I criticise Nuno all the time. Last night, we didn't resort to that defensive standoffish. Do you know what I mean? We were always trying to push, trying to attack, trying to get forward. So it was
I said, if he's all right, and say he just misses City and he's back for Villa, then I'm fine with it. Like, if he's out for most of the season or the rest of the season, then I'm fucking fuming.
I reckon it's a dead leg. I reckon it's a dead leg.
People are saying dead leg. I don't know. They were saying it was his calf, right? It's his calf. I hope it's a dead leg. I hope it's maybe cramp or something. I really do. But he's having a scan, right? Yeah. He's had a scan today. I mean, I'll read the exact words. This is what X said, right? West Ham have said Somerville will have scans today, and it's a huge worry. That said, he was seen walking at the end of the match, so we'll have to wait to find out the full extent. So we just have to literally have to wait and see. And I'm really hoping, because we're having Pablo back, but losing Somerville will be such a kick in the bollocks, because I was so excited to have Pablo back, like Pablo, Tatty, Somerville, Bowen, like that attack, we would have really kicked on.
But this is the thing, though, is if, like you said, what we've got City. Is it City, then Villa, then we've got the international break?
Yes.
So in a way that's that
we got to beat Villa, though. I want to beat Villa. Like, we need to.
Of course. You want to have him available, but if he just misses them two and he's back for the run-in now is key. City's always going to be a difficult game. We know our record against City isn't the greatest, and City blow on cold. We catch them on a bad day, especially coming off the back of a Champions League fixture. That's going to be a tough Champions League fixture. It may bode in our favour. We may be able to get a point or even a win. A win would be fantastic, but getting a point would be brilliant. And then go into the Villa. We're buoyed of confidence at the minute. Take out the Liverpool defeat, where Liverpool took their chances. They got a bit lucky, they took their chances, but the overall performance from us wasn't dreadful. It wasn't a 5-2 performance. And that is the thing now, is that the performances, the belief in the players. You look at us now and look at the other teams we're fighting relegation against, you're going to favour us more to get out of it than them.
When
I want is to be out of that.
I'll tell you this now. I'm going to say this I'll take Forest and our team over Spurs' team in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
You look at
100%.
Easily. When you look at them things at the end of the game, mate, the togetherness, the positivity, like you look at that team, you would never know who was in the bottom three. Like Spurs have the opposite of that. Whatever the opposite is. Do
you know what?
4-0. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what this is doing to their 4-0. Their morale.
They've subbed their goalkeeper off after 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They subbed him off.
Their morale, and they're still conceding 4-0. Pathetic.
You know what makes me laugh, right? I read an article earlier. Listen to this, right? The article was Tottenham to prioritise Premier League survival over Champions League progress. Like they had a fucking choice.
The thing is, I think ideally what we would have wanted is them to at least go into the next leg of that game still in it. So they've got to try and, do you know what I mean? Them getting
absolutely. Listen, there's a lot of people laughing at the end of the day, right? I'm going to refrain from laughing, because laughing at someone being in the Champions League, we've never been in the Champions League. Let them have their moment, but let them get destroyed, because that is what they fucking deserve, to be quite honest with you. That's the way they're playing. And the fucking disgrace the disgraceful way that they've been fucking going on about. Do you know what? I see a fucking tweet earlier from the 25th of August. They was first, we were 20th.
20th, yeah.
And they said happy bank holiday. Imagine that. Imagine we go into the next bank holiday and we're 16th and they're 18th. Which could happen.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna laugh because it's funny as fuck. But I get what you're saying, Scott. I was like you before, and I was thinking, you know, if it's 2-0. then it goes back to their ground.
They're
But
still in it.
like the same time, they can't go back home now and rotate and rest their best players and play their B team because it will be a cricket score. They will be fully and thoroughly humiliated, and it will only seek to destroy their confidence more. They have to try and keep it respectable. They have to at least try. Like if they have to hope that Atletico Madrid are like play their B team against Spurs' A team, and Spurs can at least get a moral victory of like, do you know what, we've won and we take that forward and stop the rot. Like this, I mean, Igor might get sacked after this. I don't think that's going to change much. This group of players do not give a shit. They want out. Look at all these Spurs fans that have travelled, to Spain to watch them, and they're seeing their team. It's 23 minutes in, they're 4-0 down. Like that's what I'm saying. They're night and day to our team. The team spirit, the morale, the positivity, the momentum. It's all on our side, and they have the opposite. This game has been worse for them.
Yeah, like Nicky said, they're the worst. Out of all of us down there fighting, they're the worst at the minute. They really are. I think Wolves and Burnley show more spirit and fight than what they do.
Yeah. Like that's it.
Let's talk about the FA Cup, because we are here for an FA Cup game. It's not Premier League yet. Leeds in the next round. Funny enough, right? There's no Leeds fans in this chat anymore.
I had them on the watch along.
They seem to have disappeared. They've all seemed to have disappeared. It was 9 points before. We weren't getting anyone. We're getting relegated. All of a sudden, there's a 3-point difference. We're playing well. We've got them in the quarterfinals at home. Mm-hmm. Now, listen, and I'm going to be fair when I said a draw. It's a good draw, obviously. You have to win the games, right? They're a good side, Leeds. I fancy it's at home. If it was away, it would have been a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I think being at home is a big benefit. Going to there, I think they have the advantage. But, coming to us, even though we know the London Stadium isn't always the best place for us, but I think it just gives us that little bit of an edge.
Yeah, they haven't got the best away record, especially in London's Leeds. So they'll be considering that. They'll be taking that in, and they'd be wishing it was at Elland Road, where they'd have a massive. Oh, Spurs have scored. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, Pedro Porridge have scored. So, yeah, like I said, they'll be. I think they'll be worried that it is in London. They'll be a bit apprehensive, as much as some of them was in the chat putting on a brave face.
Yeah.
They'll be worried, but yeah, like I said, I'm happy with that, and I think we can win it. We can.
The thing is, Dan, when we had them in the chat before, I turned around and said they're not out of it. They were sitting 7 points clear. They're not 7 points clear anymore. The only benefit they've really got is their next fixtures against Palace, who, Palace have been a very funny side this year. So if they don't get a good result against Larnaca on Thursday, then it could play in Leeds' favour. But listen, as I said, we're looking at the Cup. We're looking at the chance to get in the semi-final. They're going to look at it as a winnable game. We're going to be looking at it as a winnable game. We've got, I think, the momentum at the minute. I know we've got a few games to play between now and then. And I think it comes after the international break, doesn't it, that fixture? But the momentum's in our favour at the moment. We're one of the form teams in the Premier League, which is crazy to think. So we've got to take the fight and the spirit that we saw last night, the togetherness we saw, and go into this game and again, approach it the same way. Mix up a little bit, but still be strong enough to get the job done.
It's going to be very interesting. Like if we do win that game, which I said, I back us. I think if we always ask for a prediction, we would predict that West Ham win, right? And that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we're all confident. Yeah. Past that, you get to semi-finals, finals. It's huge. You're at Wembley. Like then it's on to see if Nuno can manage a win against one of the top sixes, right? Whoever you're going to get. That's going to be huge. And I think the players will rise to it. The players will rise to the occasion, but it's going to be difficult. Like I really, really, you get closer and closer. You start fucking dreaming of that FA Cup. You start believing, you start wanting it. You start smelling it. Mate, I can't tell you how much I would love to see us win that.
I think for me, if we do overcome Leeds, I'm hoping that Nuno's learnt from the mistake he made last season in the semi-final. If we get there, do you know what I mean? He didn't really go for it. He tried to sit back and defend, and it didn't work out. So I'm just hoping that if we get past them, and I said I'm not count our chickens because I know Leeds are a pretty decent side on their day. But if we get there, I'm hoping Nuno's learnt from that experience that he had last season.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got to have a bit of a balance and playing phases. Like, phase. You're gonna have times where you've got to soak it up a bit. Of course you do, right? But not for 90 minutes, not for 45 minutes, not even for 30 minutes. Like you've got to have phases to the game, and we've got to have phases where we're pressing forward and trying to get the ball and winning second balls and pressing and attacking. That's what I want to see. But yeah, like I said, I think now when you think about it, there's no reason not to go really strong against Leeds. I mean, you think about it, right? We've got how many Prem games left? 9
games,
nine Prem games left. So this would only be potentially an extra 3 games. An extra 3 games left in the season. Is it really gonna? I know it takes its toll, especially if it goes extra time, but just go for it. Let's go all out.
Yeah, we've got to, mate. This in this position now that we're in, you've got to go all out for it. You've got to have a go. You can't get into a quarterfinal of a cup as we've done in the past. Got to this position before in the past and thrown it away. We have got to now look at this as an opportunity to give the fans a decent season after such a terrible league season.
Mate, could you imagine going from just thinking your team's getting relegated to winning an FA Cup? Like, could you imagine it? I mean, we wouldn't even imagine getting to Wembley. Like, when you go back to January after Nottingham Forest, like, imagine we would be sitting here talking about potentially getting to Wembley after Nottingham Forest when we was convinced, like, that's looking like it's it. It's just funny how things can change so quickly in football. And like I said, I really do credit them signings of Tati and Pablo a lot with helping turn our season around, and the sale of Paqueta. And I know we've got some Paqueta fans, but I think getting him out has taken that dark cloud over the team's head. This constant, is he going? When's he going? What's happening? The sulking. I think those things have shifted our season around.
You've got players there now that want to be at the club. You've got players there now that want to perform. You see Pablo, Tati, they're appreciative of being at the football club. You look at Disasi, he's been, people were saying, and my mates at work, they don't get why Chelsea have let him go, why he didn't play a game for Chelsea, because he's better than some of the other players that they've got in their squad defensively. And this is it. Players there that want to be there, that want to push and want to try and raise their levels and push the club up higher. It resonates through the team. When you've got sulkers and bad eggs sitting in there, they bring the team down, and that's what it seems to be. We've got rid of them people that are just there just because the name. Do you know what I mean? The Fulkrugs, the Paquetars, they've gone. Yes, they are decent players, but they made the dressing room a bad place to be. A Pablo, a Tati, a Disasi,
make it be as decent as you want, right? You can be a world superstar, and I've said this about. Especially about Paquetá, you don't want to run or play for the team. You're about as fucking useless as putting me at the back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like one of the most disgraceful performances I've ever seen was Fulkrug at Bournemouth. I mean, walking.
Yeah. No, exactly, mate. Exactly, and that's it. You've got players now who are playing through the pain.
They will run through the fucking through a brick wall for you. And that's
it. And now, and we're seeing hungry youngsters come through and take their chances. Do you know what I mean? Like Kante, Mayers. I know Scholes. I know he was criticised, but Scholesy, Potts, who I thought we would have maybe seen a bit of more of coming on. Like May, I thought he might have started. But we're starting to see these young, hungry players this season. Like, these are the things we want as West Ham fans. We've got to see some better football against Brentford. We've got to see some youngsters. Like, these and the team putting in effort. Like, this is what we want as West Ham fans.
The balance seems to be right. That's what he seems to be getting the balance right. He's mixing it up and getting the balance right, and that's what we need to see. There's still another couple of youngsters still sitting there waiting for their opportunity to break through. So things could be a lot brighter going forward.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Well, there's still a long way to go on everything. We've still got to win games. We're talking like we've already done it. At the end of the day, let's get to the end of the season and see where we are. But there we go. Right, I've got to shoot.
Right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Go and check out the fan cams if you haven't checked out the fan cams. We'll be building up towards the Manchester City game on Saturday. So go and check that out. We'll have a show in the midweek, I'm sure. And
Yep. Probably extra time with the lads. Probably a bit of extra time.
Might do a call in tomorrow. How about that?
There we go.
There we go. So
And OK jerseys. Thank you very much. OK jerseys. Do check them out. QR code.
If you want a 10% discount, subscribe if you're new. One thing left to say.
Come on, you